Archer and the Devil.
Welcome to Archer and the Devil. He's Archer. I am the Devil.
Number four.
How's it going?
4 times we've done this now.
4 times.
Or 3 times in this time.
We've probably done it about 1,000 times, but just...
Are you still enjoying it?
Yeah, man.
And me.
It's always nice seeing your beautiful face.
It's cool AF.
Cool AF.
Cool AF.
OMG.
OMG, it is cool AF, LOL. Just, you know, for all the kids out there.
Yeah, we've got to stay relevant. We are 2 old men.
Throwing out gangs that we are.
We are 2 old men.
I feel old this week.
You look beautiful.
I do feel old. I put my Lego hoodie
Your
on.
Lego hoodie on.
Some of my personality is coming out now.
Is that what it is?
So I got this when I went to the Lego show at the NEC.
Oh, I've got my Part Wolf t-shirt on.
The Part Wolf.
I've got a story about this actually. Let's just tell this quickly.
Go on then.
So
it doesn't have to be quick. We've got ages.
Yes, this is the start. Right, so I lived in Iceland, which I reference all the time. I probably should talk more about Iceland at one point.
I agree, because from what I understand, it's a pretty cool story of how you even got there in the first place.
Let's start with that first.
Go on then, let's start there. So, Sonny, how did you end up in Iceland?
Well, Jake, I flew there. No, so when I was travelling in Southeast Asia.
God, you don't have to do some travelling, don't you?
A little bit.
Go on.
Sorry.
Tell you. No, I'm joking. Go on.
No, my mates are like that. If something comes up culturally or like in reference, and I'm like, oh, I've been there. Like, fuck's sake.
Of course you have.
Yeah. Where haven't you been? When I was in Asia, I was about 5 months in and posted a picture in Vietnam. And one of my mates commented on Facebook saying, "Are you ever fucking coming home? Is that your life now?" And I was like, "No, when I run out of money, I'll have to come back, save more." And this dude, I used to own a bar in Tamworth.
That's another story for another time.
That is another story. And it was one of the customers in there I knew and became mates with. He commented on it saying, "Dude, I'm in Iceland. I work here. Been there for like 1.5 years. There's loads of jobs here if you want a job when you come back." So that's fucking awesome. I'll let you know when I land. When I come home. So like a month after, get back to England. After about a month of being back, message him, like, there's still jobs going in Iceland. He's like, "Oh no, they've all gone." It's like, "Okay, fair enough. If anything comes up, let me know." So a few months after that, he messaged me saying, "Okay, I'm quitting my job and moving to Cyprus. So if you can get here tomorrow."
How long had you been home?
At this point, about 3 or 4 months.
Right, okay. So it wasn't literally straight away.
Yeah, I'd been home for a while. And he was like, "If you can get here tomorrow, job's yours." And I was just about to go to a festival. So I was like, "If you can wait till Monday, I'll book a flight and I'll come out on Monday." And he was like, "Cool, okay." So went to the festival, drank my ass off, come back home on Monday, pack my bags, get a flight to Reykjavik. I'd never been to Iceland before in my life. Always wanted to go. And that was literally a matter of him messaging me saying, it's taking opportunities, you know what I mean? It was just, if it's shit, I'll come back. I did say to him, "Does your boss know what I look like?"
Yeah.
Because you might want to show him that first. Because it's all good and well you recommending me for this job, but if I turn up and he's like, "He's not working here,"
yeah,
then I'm fucked. I was like really broke as well. Iceland's a fucking expensive country, but everything you do there's free because it's all outdoors, it's all nature, and it's fucking beautiful. But yes, I was working. This was 2017 when I moved there, and yeah, had this t-shirt. And one day, like, a group of people came in. Same thing I said before with the Drogo thing, and they're taking pictures and stuff like that. And this one girl was like, "Can we have a photograph with you?" I'm like, "Yeah, cool." And these 2 girls take their jackets off, and they're wearing Part Wolf t-shirts. And I'm like, "I've got that t-shirt." And they're like, "Yeah, we know." I'm sorry, what? And they're like, "Yeah, so we got them shipped over from America because we came in last week and saw you.
What?
And we wanted to come and get it when you were wearing the t-shirt. So we wanted to come back and get a picture with you." So this was Lana, the one I mentioned in the last podcast that gave me the van.
Yep.
She was one of these 2 girls. So they were like, "Can you get the t-shirt?" So I went, because I lived where I worked. So I went and got the t-shirt, had a photograph with them. But yeah, so literally it was just, and I was like, that's creepy as fuck, but kind of sweet.
You didn't tell all the story about how you got there. You just glossed over most of it.
Yeah, that was how I got there.
No, it wasn't.
What have I missed?
All of it.
No, I was. My mate texted me saying, "Do you want the job?"
Yeah. You told me way more than that.
Did I?
Yes.
I've forgotten what I missed.
Like, you'd never met him.
No, I'd met him.
The boss.
Oh no, not the boss.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I'll give back. Yeah, the boss was cool. I mean, when I first got there, obviously he was like, "You can't wear makeup. Can you tie your hair up? Take your piercings out." No, but okay. So I do this at all jobs generally. Like, I'll start off with none, then put a little. I only wear eyeshadow. It's not like for those who are listening and haven't seen me, I don't go full RuPaul. Maybe I should, but
he's not Bag of Chips the second.
I don't know what that means.
That's one of the girls.
I've never seen it.
Oh.
I've heard it's good though, but I've never seen it. But yeah, so I started working there. I started putting a bit more makeup on, but you used to have to wear like a black shirt, black jeans, kind of thing. But I was really good at my job in Iceland because my job, there's a hike there, like a 26-kilometer hike called Fimmvörðuháls. And where I used to live, the volcano that erupted in 2011, called Eyjafjallajökull.
What?
Eyjafjallajökull.
Okay.
It took me a month of living in Iceland to learn how to say that. And my boss used to every day would say, "How do you say it?" And I'd be like, "Say it," and I'd be wrong. And he'd tell me, but only would tell me once a day. So it took me a month to learn it. And when I lived there,
Was this the ash cloud?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so...
That one.
Did that affect you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, not emotionally or physically. No,
Right, okay. I wasn't sure.
I don't have no irrational fear of volcanoes or anything.
Well, I lived 12k from that, and where the hike was, you passed, because the volcano was beneath a glacier. So there was like two glaciers either side. There's that one on one side and Katla on the other. And Katla now hasn't erupted for 102 years. It was 1918 the last time it erupted. And they think that could be like a world killer. It could create such...
Really?
Yeah. That went on orange alert at one point, which means it might erupt. So we all get like phone calls and emails off Iceland information board.
Not the shop.
Not the shop. And they were literally like, if this goes red, you need to be ready to fucking go. But yeah, it didn't erupt.
World killer in terms of what? Like the ash cloud?
Yeah, it would affect the...
Just so much.
Yeah, because the ash cloud would get caught up in the atmosphere and generally cover... It could create nuclear winter, I think, is what they've said.
Shit, really?
But it hasn't before, and it's erupted before, so it's likely it won't. But it's about 70 years overdue.
No, but they also said that global warming wasn't real, and now they're saying it is.
Well,
And
it obviously is.
do you know what I
Iceland's
mean?
a good place for that. When you go to Iceland, there's a glacier called Salheimjökull, which is about a 15-minute drive from where I lived. We used to go like ice climbing there and stuff like that all the time, my days off. And the year I was there, you can see how significantly, just in a year, it declined. And it is like when you live in Iceland, you see like firsthand the effects of global warming.
Isn't that just like summer?
What
Like,
do you mean?
like isn't there just less in the summer than in the winter?
But in the winter, it comes back. But
Right.
then it comes less and less.
I'm with you.
and
Yeah,
less.
yeah.
I think it's... I might be wrong on this, but I think in 250 years, all the glaciers in Iceland will be gone.
In 250 years.
Yeah,
Jesus.
with it, well, yeah, and there's 1/3 of the country's covered in ice and glaciers.
I'd be able to build more houses then.
There's only 330,000 people in
Well,
the
they
country.
can all have more babies.
They
See,
can
it's not
like
all doom and
literally. I
gloom.
think there's 220,000 in Reykjavik, and the rest are spread out across the country. There's no fucking people there. There's no traffic, which is great. But well, I mean, I think it's like 3 million, might be 11 million, something like that, tourists a year that come through. So where I lived,
There's what, 11 million
I
tourists?
said it might be 3 million, it might be 11.
Even so, and there's how many live there?
330,000
In the whole country?
whole country.
Do they all know each other?
There's got an app. So when you date someone in Iceland, there's an app to make sure you're not related.
Shut up.
100%.
That's
That's
incredible.
a real thing because there's so few of them that there's an app.
So what? So
They've got an app.
right.
So if you're right, I mean, I wouldn't need it. I'm not Icelandic.
No.
There's no brown people there either, so I know I'm not related to you.
Okay.
But there's an app which you can go on and find out if you're related to someone. So if you're about to hook up with someone, be like, 1 second. Sorry, you're my second cousin. Put it away.
That's incredible.
That's a thing.
But the chances are, I'd say, pretty high that at some point
330,000 people.
you are related to somebody.
Within your age range as well.
Exactly.
It must happen.
But do people go, we'll just put that out the way.
Just pretend. It's the same.
My battery's dead.
It's
We'll
the
just
same
ignore
rule
that.
as everything if they're hot. It's a golden rule behind
So
everything.
you learned
right?
so much during this podcast that I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. There's also a thing in Iceland as well. So everyone's... Sorry, pulling on the lead. There's everyone's surname is their parents' first name. So you know when like Iceland playing the World Cup?
Yeah.
And everyone's name is Bjornsson or Thornsson or...
Yeah.
That's their father's first name.
With son on the end.
Yeah. And then when they have kids, so your kid will be called Ted Jakeson.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
So is that a way of like continuing your family tree as such?
Yeah, I guess. And they also have a thing where you wouldn't be able to call your kid Beyonce. They have a book of accepted baby names.
Right. Okay. So.
And if you want to bring a new name into it, you have to go to a board and discuss why you want that name. And I guess it's a way of keeping the heritage. And
Yeah, like tradition.
Like that. Yeah. So you couldn't just call your kid Beyonce Jakeson, or it would be Beyonce Jake's daughter. If it's a girl, it's daughter. If it's a boy, it's a son.
Okay.
That would be the mother's name for daughter. But yeah, so you have to go to a board, discuss why you want that name.
Oh, okay. So if it's a girl, they take
The mother's
their
name.
mom's first name.
And then daughter.
Okay, because it's their daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So brothers and sisters don't have the same surname.
It's similar in the Middle East and stuff like that, isn't it? Where like the like you have somebody called Muhammad, and you're like, well, how does that happen?
Right.
And it's because it's son of.
Yeah.
So it's Muhammad, son of.
Yeah.
And if his name's Muhammad, unfortunately your name's Muhammad, and this tough shit.
Well, Muhammad's the most popular name in the world.
It is, but I just mean it. You know what I mean? Like it's
just a
son
side
of
note.
so and so,
Yeah.
or son of so and so.
Yeah, I think with Portuguese they use both parents surnames as well.
Double-barreled
Yeah.
situation.
So like Cristiano Ronaldo, Portuguese.
Right.
Ronaldo's his middle name. It's not actually his surname.
Right. Okay.
So I think his surname's De Silva. Something De Silva.
So we'll have two.
Yeah. So
you carry both rather
that's
than
why
in the UK.
so many Brazilians who are Portuguese, obviously in heritage, language and stuff like that, use Ronaldinho or Ronaldo or Pele or stuff like that rather than using the full name, because the full name is about 18
Yeah, because a lot
names.
of Brazilians have got nicknames like Fred
Kaká
and do you know what I mean
yeah.
and stuff like that. They've just
So
got
that's why
nicknames
it's a
because they're all the
variation.
same.
Yeah. So because they have so many names, like Pele's real name was Edson Arantes do Nascimento.
What?
Yeah. So rather than having that on his shirt,
Pele.
just easier. You know what I mean?
I didn't know that.
Which is strange. I mean, it is strange how and I've always found this weird thing when with
Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro.
so that's his full name.
So that's Cristiano Ronaldo's full name.
And he was named Ronaldo after Ronald Reagan, I think.
What?
So his parents were big fans of Ronald Reagan.
Right, okay.
So they called him Ronaldo after Ronald Reagan.
Really?
I think it's that. I might be wrong, but I'm like 90% sure.
That's like a fucking school lesson in
Right,
this podcast,
isn't it? It is.
Everybody's learned. Honestly, if you listen to this podcast, you can go to your friends and be more
You
intelligent.
could, yeah. You could literally go there and you'll have Shinfo to spread. It's not necessarily the best information you're going to pass, but there's something for everyone.
You can
here.
speak to your mate and you can go, do you know what?
Yeah, that's
Did you know
perfect.
in Iceland there's an app to see if you're related to
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
as you date them? And they'd be like, no. Well, I heard it on Archer and the Devil
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
You should really give it a
You should
listen.
check it out.
It's called Plenty of Ice Cubes.
My God.
Did you actually wait? Did you research that? Is that the actual name?
No,
That-
it's
'cause
not.
if it was, that would be fucking
Plenty
amazing.
of ice cubes.
Dear
That's a
Iceland, if
phenomenon.
you're listening, that's what you should call it.
Do they have dating apps in Iceland? Like Tinder and shit?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It's still, I mean, it's a very, Iceland's a really, I think like about 6 or 7
I just didn't know if
years
there's any
ago-
point. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, outside of Reykjavik, there's really not, because you'll drive, and where I live, the population was 23 people.
What?
It wasn't even a village; it was a settlement, and there were 23 people.
I could never live in Iceland. I'd be hated immediately. I'd just be driven out from village to village with like pitchforks,
Yeah.
fucking fire, get him out.
They're really, the thing is, honestly, Icelandic people as a whole are very liberal, open-minded, kind of like they're very accepting of everything. I think it's one of the first. It was the first country to make the gender gap in pay on par.
I've been to Finland, but I've never been to
I haven't been to
Iceland.
Finland. Well, I think Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, and Iceland, Finland. All tried. They're kind of, because they're socialist countries. It's not by definition, but on a socialist model.
I think if you've got less people, it's easier to
To
implement change, to be more open-minded,
I think
to
all
try different
democracy
things.
itself was initially created for smaller communities. I don't think democracy works single law for 65 million people, because
Especially these days.
Yeah.
Even more so these days
Yeah.
with how different the world is and how fast it's changing and
Yeah.
everything else.
well, the democratic model, it was like created in Athens. I think it was 2,500 years ago, like Athenian democracy, and that was created for Athens initially. I think the biggest problem as well now is all democracy is based on two ideologies. So it will be, for example, in this country, it's Conservative or Labour. And that's it. That's your lot. So you have to pick between two people who don't really have the best interest of you.
All that knowledge of the real world you'll find.
Yeah.
Did you see that thing with a while ago when there was they had Mark Zuckerberg on trial?
Yeah.
And then the Congress and that was interviewing him, and they was going, if I want to send you the email on Facebook, and he's like, what?
Yeah.
You know, if I want to send you the email on Facebook, you can't email on Facebook. But if I want to send you the email on the Facebook, and he's like, what is it? He just sat there like completely blank face, like, why am I even here?
Yeah.
Like, what are we achieving here? You have no idea about the real world, let alone Facebook. And you guys are making the rules of the land.
But the problem is we empower them. Like democracy, I think by definition, it's a form of government in which people have the authority to choose their governing legislation.
Right, so that again.
So it's a form of government in which the people have the authority to choose their governing legislation.
The people being us.
We're the people.
So we choose the government, and that's about as much power as we have.
We empower the government. We elect the government. We should dictate legislation. So, you know, for example, when Brexit happened, we had a referendum.
Yep.
You could, theoretically, have a referendum on everything.
Yep.
The only reason we don't is because you would be voting every
constantly.
constantly. So that's why essentially you have governing bodies who will put forward their manifesto, which is here's the policies we want to see in action, and then you pick of those parties. I like yours better than his, so I'll go with you. But I do think having two ideologies to pick from, I could understand in a smaller place why it would work. Like I know in America, different states have different laws.
Oh yeah, it's
They still have universal law across
countrywide.
Yeah. But for example, in one country, the drinking age might be 21. In another, it might be 18.
Well, it's the same as gambling. Some states it's legal to gamble. Some states it's not, and they could literally be 3 feet apart.
Yeah. Well, look, that's with weed as well. Like you can, marijuana is legal now in a lot of places, but still not in others.
Not in others, yeah.
Yeah. Which I think works. It does work essentially because you can have the same thing in Europe, for example, with countries because they're so close together. So you can go to Denmark where something's illegal, and then go to Germany where it's the opposite. And it's the same as going from California to Oregon.
Yeah.
But I do think the thing with democracy literally means rule of people. By definition, that's what it is. And I think you always see people like trying to create revolutions and stuff like that every once in a while. But I think the biggest problem we have in this, not in this country, in Western world, is as long as the system works for some people, which it does.
A majority.
It's not even the majority. I think because if you look at the 1%, who are the billionaires and stuff like that, as long as you can buy into a theory where it's achievable, you're not going to shake that system. So if your neighbour's got a brand new BMW and you're driving a shitty Fiesta, the fact that he's got it, it's there, you can see it, and you live next door to him makes it achievable. You know what I mean?
I'm with you, yeah.
So that because, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And I think that's the problem. As long as the system works for some people, you're successful, you're healthy, you have possessions, and we do, consumerism is the model that we're based on in this country, in Europe, in Western world. That's why people don't shake it up. And that's the problem, is that as long as, because we could change the system entirely to make it fairer for everyone, which is what socialism is essentially. And the problem with socialism though is that when it's been done in forms of communism and stuff like that, like Marxism, where it's like North Korea, China, Russia, and it's these countries who have figureheads who are just assholes, find a way to make it work for them, and they're the only models we've had of it.
Bad models.
Exactly, yeah.
Bad people in for their own gains as opposed to the gains of...
And by no means am I a socialist. All socialism is, everyone is on an even keel. You know what I mean? So everyone gets the same. And I get, if you work harder than I work, you deserve more, which is where I think socialism is flawed a little bit. In that sense, I'm sure there's ways around it. You can have a democratic socialist model, but you'd have to bring in that aspect of it. Because I think the difference, like with Marxism, it's organizing, like by definition, it's organizing society where workers own the means of production. Individuals can own property, whereas in communism, property is given to you based on what they view to be your needs.
Right.
So rather than having everyone's the same, it'll be, this is what we think you deserve. And that's why it hasn't worked, because people profit from it. And as long as people at the top are profiting from it, they're going to fuck you over.
But also it creates hatred and stuff like that. Well, why does he deserve that more than I deserve that, or this and the other? And then it just ultimately creates more problems.
Yeah. And it is, I think, with a lot of people, with socialism's always voted in as well. So with socialism, you'd have a democratic vote and people choose whether they want to be socialist or not. Whereas communism is generally done through violence. So like in Cuba, like Che Guevara, for example, was like a soldier in a communist party, which I always found weird that he's used on propaganda for like rebellion when they were a communist nation for years afterwards as well, like Fidel Castro was.
Yeah, he's a bit of a weird.
Yeah.
People don't really know, do they? I found that out a few years ago that he is this big. Everybody knows the image. Everybody probably wore a T-shirt or seen a poster or something.
He's become the poster boy for revolution.
Yeah, but it's like you say, it's completely the opposite. Like he was a bad man. Like
he was a bad man.
He was a bad man back in the day. He was a bad man.
Yeah.
I also have literally no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I'm not even gonna. I'm sure there's 80% of people out there that are thinking, "What the fuck's going on?" But I'm interested to learn, and I'm listening, but that doesn't mean I understand.
The thing, I think this is one of those things that should be taught in school. I think politics, especially, because people do switch off on politics. I'm always, I'm really into politics. If you follow me on Facebook and know me for long enough to know that when it comes to an election, I'm all in. And after this one, I accept the outcome.
And that's yeah.
And it is like, especially when it's a majority. But I think if you have the education, and we said this, I think, in podcast 2, where I was saying I think education is the most important thing. As long as people are educated to understand differences and to understand not everyone's going to have the same card dealt to them as you are.
No.
And I think there's too much. It's easy for you because you've got this, not knowing where someone's come from. And I think a better education on those kinds of things can change that, personally. But I can't remember how we got onto this in the first place. But yeah, I just think education on those things is important.
And it's good to talk about different things. We can't always talk about getting spiked by prostitutes. You know what I mean? It's sometimes we have to talk about serious issues and stuff like that. And I don't think it's a bad thing. There's no rules to this podcast. There's no right or wrong, or we must talk about this or whatever. You know what I mean? If you want to talk about politics, you fucking talk about politics.
Yeah.
I don't have to understand it.
You don't.
I don't have to agree with it.
Well, hopefully at the end of it, you'll have a better understanding of it.
I mean, I don't know much about anything.
Well, I think there's one thing. I remember I read a quote which was like, one person can change the world for the better as long as they don't care who gets the credit. I think that ties into that in a big way.
Right, say that again.
So one person can change the world for better,
right,
as long as they don't care who gets the credit. So if you were to do something without seeking reward for it,
yes,
if everyone did that,
yes,
we as a species become better.
That makes sense.
Right, and I think that's one thing failing in democracy is that we have our leaders globally don't look for the good of the people. If a government does good, they're going to fucking tell you they did something.
Oh,
Trump's
as always.
the biggest for this. Trump is that person who, look at what I've done. Look at how great I am. Look at my figures. He shouldn't care, because it becomes, it's like you're a megalomaniac. All you care about is
because it's not about you. Yeah, you're there for the people.
Right.
So do the shit for the people.
Yeah. And I think the problem is, I think, in all these countries that you don't really know how to shake the system up. I don't know how to shake the system up. By no means am I the person who's going to be like, this is what we need to do. Like, there was the last election, not the last election here, the one before it, Russell Brand was really big on this.
Yes, you done all the trues.
Yeah.
Was it? All the political. Didn't he interview somebody on his bed? One of the. Wasn't it one of the candidates?
I think it was for the Lib Dems.
I can't remember.
Oh no, it was Ed Miliband.
Yeah, that was it.
It was Ed Miliband.
In his bedroom, sat on his bed, like.
He between that and a bacon sandwich. That's what fucked it, which is really bad about British politics. If you don't know, Ed Miliband was the Labour frontrunner against
candidate
David
was the wrong
Cameron.
word. I suppose he was the candidate.
He was the candidate, against David Cameron. who fucks pigs. Side note.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Don't sue us.
You can sue me if you want to.
You can have my £10.50.
Yeah. And he went to interview Russell Brand, who was very prominent in that election, and Russell Brand sat him on his bed, looking like he just fucked him. And the thing is, there must have been people in that room, like, you know, his delegates, the people who look after him, who've like, Ed, maybe ask him to move to the living room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, stop sitting on the bed.
Don't,
It's weird.
don't sit on his bed. And then the bacon sandwich was, here was a picture of him on every single newspaper cover of him eating a bacon sandwich because he pulled. You know, when you take a picture of anyone doing anything at the wrong angle or the wrong moment, it's a bad.
Especially eating.
Yeah, and that literally was his undoing because people were like, if you can't even eat a bacon sandwich properly,
How can you run the country?
how can you run the country? And now look at us. Fucking hell.
I don't think. I mean, I don't know. The thing is, it's the same with any politics. The same with anything. It's very easy to say, yeah, but what if?
Yeah.
Because you're never, ever gonna know.
Yeah.
Would it have been better
Yeah.
if Labour was in charge? Because then the Conservatives wouldn't have been in charge, so you wouldn't know because the one's not going to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
There's nothing to compare it against.
no, exactly. The only thing that I disagree with politics is like you've just said, like democracy is basically the people. It's the people. We're putting our trust in these groups of people that have different ideas or whatever. What I don't agree with, and I think it causes more, the whole Brexit thing causes more harm than good, is once one party's been elected, right, why do they have to continue arguing?
Yeah.
Like, why can't they just go, right, fair enough, the people chose you and your policies, we're going to now work with you and we're going to change stuff for the better? Because effectively, any government that comes, and it's the same in the States, it's the same as anywhere, you're not going to change fuck all in 4 years. You're not.
I have a theory about this. I think when you're doing an election campaign, everything you promise, if you haven't tried, I'm not saying successful, but if you haven't tried to implement that legislation, you cannot run for government for the next election.
I agree, because it's like, we know that all of a sudden overnight, like Boris Johnson promised X amount of money to the NHS, whatever. You know, the minute he gets elected the next day, he's not going to be there giving them checks every day.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
We get that. But
isn't that bad that we accept that, though? The fact that we know politicians lie and we know they're not going to be held accountable for it, so you can...
I mean, that is your bullet points as to why you elect someone,
right.
Ultimately. Like, these are the bullet points of these people. I prefer his set of bullet points, so I'm going to choose him, and that's going to be the end of it.
But that's why I think if you had a system where you have to implement them, and if you don't, like I said, if you're not successful in it, fair enough. If you find out halfway through this isn't going to work, at least you tried. But if you do not try, all it will do is stop people lying. You can't lie on your campaign with what you're going to do if you have to actually fucking do it afterwards.
Do it, because if not, we'll find you out and we'll know about it.
And at that point, if you have lied, then you can't run for this election.
I just don't get why they can't just go, right, okay, fair enough. You want to do Brexit? We didn't, but the government, the people chose you, and they chose to leave the European Union. So we're all now going to work together to do what's best for the people, because ultimately that's what democracy is. It's for the betterment of the country.
But I don't think we should have, like, again, a single leader. Just seems really ridiculous to me at this day and age.
I mean, you say that, but a friend of mine, when I went to Dubai, he said to me, and it kind of makes sense in a way, they have the single leader and...
the face of it.
No, like in Dubai, there's one guy.
Right, okay.
It's like the sheikh, the gaffer, whatever you want to call him. He makes the decisions. I want you all in bed by 7 o'clock. You have to be in bed by 7 o'clock, right? She explained it as humans now can't be trusted on their own, right? So if you had no government, what would happen? People wouldn't just get along.
Yeah,
you wouldn't just self-police. You wouldn't just get along. So what is so wrong with having one guy? I understand there's a whole... No, not even that. I mean, I understand there's a whole bigger argument here, but what I'm saying is, you go to Dubai, there's no crime, there's no nothing, right? Again, they do some questionable stuff. Get that. Not saying everything
Right.
everything that everybody ever does is correct.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is the biggest issues in this country are crime, drugs, etc. Right? Nobody goes to prison for having free will.
Yeah.
They go to prison for committing crimes.
Like, yeah.
And Dubai is known as a country of wealth. It's just this, you know what I mean? This, that, and the other. What's so bad of not giving humans, which have been proved over and over again, make wrong decisions, war, etc.? What's wrong with just taking that ability? And I think this is eventually, honestly, the way the world will go. The worse the world gets in terms of everything, like you just mentioned about the volcano, stuff like that. If something like that happens, it will get to the point where somebody somewhere says, sorry, but I'm taking over now because you fuckers have ballsed it all up. And
A world president.
I think so.
think?
And I think that's what she was saying with Dubai. Like, humans have proved that they make shitty decisions.
Yeah.
So he's taken that ability off them for the better. Understands corruption. It's very difficult to choose that specific person to make them specific choices. Putin,
But do you not...
etc.,
Chairman
etc.
Mao, Pol Pot.
Exactly. It's not ideal sometimes, but that was through... They have a lot of... Religion plays a big part over there because people are fucking terrified of religion.
There is,
so
but
they
at the
will
same time,
listen,
like Hitler
but-
was like... People forget, the Nazis were the nationalist party. They were a political party that was empowered. It wasn't like this was just a dude who one day, with his mates, was
lost
like...
his mind.
Yeah, like he was slowly empowered to that position, and they were a political party. That's how they started. And throughout that, that's what they were by the end as well. I think it's kind of forgotten over time because Nazis now are just like, it's like a group of people, not that they were an empowered group of people. And there's too many examples where I think individuals are corruptible.
Yeah, and it's the same again. It's me saying humans as a race have fucked it up. They're not capable of making decisions, but ultimately you're electing a human to control the humans.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be that payoff of one or the other, isn't there?
Right,
You know what I mean? Like,
But that's what I think it would be better if you had maybe a board rather than an individual. And I get the individual isn't solely, in this country, you have to go through Parliament and everything else. In America, you have to go through Congress. You can't one day just make a decision and have that be law.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but there's countries where you can. Like in Venezuela, there was Hugo Chavez, who was the leader up until he died in 2013 from 1999. So for 14 years, he changed the way politics ran in that country so he could run for longer.
I'm with you, yeah.
Like in America, you can run 2 terms.
Yep.
But all it takes is one president to go, I'm going to change it to 5.
And that's it.
Yeah,
And if it gets passed, then...
If it gets passed, then he can do that. And like Venezuela now is like, I think every £10 in Venezuela is the equivalent of 7 pence.
Fuck.
So if you buy like a loaf of bread, which is say £1, then you have to £70 it's going to cost you because that's the value of the currency.
It's just
now.
so low.
Yeah, so
some
people-
like African countries are like that, don't they?
Yeah.
It's like $1 million. He's like £1
Yeah,
or something like that, and you're walking around with £500 million in whatever they are.
Well,
in
they started,
your
I
hand,
think,
and
a
it's
few
like
years
50
ago, they
quid.
started weighing money there rather than counting it because people were taking bags, wheelbarrows full of money to buy shit. When I traveled from in South America, I went from Colombia to Ecuador. It took me 13 hours to cross the border because of the amount of Venezuelan refugees going through, and literally it was like just like
One after
queues
another.
upon queues upon queues, and it was weird as well because when you're there, it was like 13 hours of my life, right? But I'm ultimately on holiday. I'm on vacation, and these people are like moving their fucking lives across, and it makes you realize how much your bullshit doesn't really matter.
13 hours, it is what it is.
Right, and I think especially like in this country when we have so much issue with have you noticed like media wise you always hear more about immigration right before an election? Like now you're not going to hear that much about
Barely
it
anything. No.
because they use it. So they'll say those news stories for the month before, and like because we'll use that to get people scared, and we'll use that as an electrical tactic to sway you a certain way or another. But when you see it firsthand, and when you see families being torn apart and people with their entire lives on their back having to leave. Like I met a guy in Colombia he said he left Venezuela after the 5th time he'd been robbed at gunpoint. And he was like, I love my country. I want to be there. I don't want to be here. It's taken me a year to find work because there's so many of us, and people are filtering down through the continent. South America's a fucking huge continent as well, because they can't be at home because they're gonna get robbed. And again, it's not because people are assholes. It's because they've got nothing else going for them. They have to turn to crime because they the dogs are in. The dogs have found their way in. Hi Ted. Because if they don't, they're just not going to.
Sorry, the dogs was outside. Scarlett's just opened the back door herself. Let both the dogs in. So now we've got two dogs on the podcast.
What are your dogs? One's a Japanese Akita.
One's in the Japanese Akita cross, and the other one is a German Shepherd,
which is the largest German Shepherd in the world. I feel like David was like, I'm sick of hearing about.
Take it, Scarlett. Come.
If you bear with us one moment.
Rob. Don't worry about it. Ted's laid down on the floor now. He's fine. I think they're just cold outside.
It is quite wintry outside.
Anyway.
But going back to my initial statement was that if one person can change the world for better, as long as they don't care who gets the credit, that should be our leaders. Stop trumping on about it, no pun intended. And just do what is best for the people.
Do you... See, I've got a few friends in the States, and there's a mixed bag now over Trump.
He's got... This November will be his second election.
Is it that soon?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So that's been 4 years already? 4 years.
Really? Yeah. And I think he'll win again.
I think he will as well.
And the thing is, last time he lost the popular vote, but won the college vote, and that's what they're based on there. So he didn't win overall. Hillary won overall. But I think this time, not only will he win the college, he'll win over the popular vote as well. And I didn't think he'd win. I didn't think Brexit would happen. I didn't think Boris Johnson would win. And I was wrong all 3 times, which is why this time, I think he'll comfortably win.
I think he's one of them guys, isn't he? But I think it seems like a lot of from what I understand, he's doing well in terms of certain things. And I think the way he is and things that he says overshadows a lot of the other stuff that he is doing.
He's a fucking sociopath.
I get that. But
he's a racist, sexist, homophobic, piece of shit sociopath.
But isn't he doing good things for the economy? And ultimately, right, and this is what I agree with, it could be him, it could be anyone, is he is a businessman.
Right.
He's not a politician.
The country isn't a business. Shouldn't be a business. Shouldn't be.
You say that.
It is. That's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be.
It's been proven that it can't run as a democracy, right? It's just not. They can't because it's fucked up, right? It's the same as you use the NHS as an example, right? The NHS isn't ran as a business.
No.
It's not. It's just got money thrown at it and they spend it left, right and centre where they want. That's why it's in a mess. It's not in a mess because it's too expensive. It's in a mess. It's in a mess because the money's spent in the wrong places.
I think it's a mess because they've been underfunding it, so as a means to be able to sell it.
But they've only been underfunding it because the funds have gone into the wrong places.
Right, but they're underfunding it specifically, so at the end of it, they can say, look, you know what's going to be better for you if we sell it and privatise it.
No, I don't believe that'll ever happen.
I still think
not a chance. Not a chance. It's too big. Nobody who would. It's the same with the gun problem in the States. It's now too big to stop it.
But they are selling it off bit by bit now.
They're not.
They literally are. They literally are. If I had to have any statistics right now, I could show you.
Selling it off.
I promise you.
They can't sell it off.
They are selling it off.
In what sense?
Virgin paid $2 billion. I think $2 billion. So Richard Branson for. Again, without the direct information.
Because it's not true.
Can you search Richard Branson NHS for me, please, Rob? And just find out what it is that he brought.
What I'm saying is...
It was something to do with child healthcare.
If it was ran by business people, the waste, the efficiency, everything would go dramatically upwards. Which means, budget-wise, it would be more not profitable. That's the wrong word, but it would be what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it would be more successful because if ultimately you're running it as a business, it has to be budgeted. It has to, you know what I mean? Like you have to do things properly.
Yeah, but even if it was privatized, it would still require that. So but the thing is, if you look at Trident, for example, now Trident is a deterrent. It's a submarine deterrent that I think has cost anywhere between 300 million and 3 billion that we spend on it. I think it's 300 million a year we spend for something that we hopefully never have to use. It's a nuclear deterrent. It's all it is. And if we use that money, and the thing, we have allies, we have European allies, we have American allies. Should we ever be nuked, there are other countries that can protect us. Let that be your deterrent and use that money.
I quite like the fact that we've got nuclear missiles.
That we're never going to use them.
Doesn't matter.
I'm not saying I'm saying Trident specifically. That one thing. Just spend less money on that and put that money into healthcare.
Yeah, but it's no good if we're all in bits.
We're not in bits. No one's going to fucking nuke us.
You don't know that.
If North Korea and the US under Trump and Kim Jong-il haven't nuked each other yet, we're going to be fine.
Also, I think if they nuked each other, we'd be fucked anyway.
No one's nuking anyone. Touch wood. I don't see it happening. I don't see it.
What about if we needed it for aliens?
For fuck's sake.
Or an asteroid? You've seen Armageddon.
I have seen Armageddon. I don't realistically think we can put a bunch of oil riggers.
No, but we can send
Bruce
a nuclear
Willis.
missile up there.
And when does that ever work? Have you seen Independence Day?
Well, it hasn't had to happen yet, has
You
it?
need Will Smith just to come down there. Get
Just
the shields
saying,
down.
Trident is multi-use. That's all I'm saying.
Let's talk
It's
about. Do you want to go on to aliens?
It's not just to ward off Donald
Imagine
Trump.
that though, right? If aliens come and our reaction is to fucking nuke them.
Do you know what?
Look,
though? That would be the
they could
full
have
well.
like this wealth of infinite knowledge on love and empowerment.
Literally, everyone just
And
assumes that
harmony
aliens exactly.
and peace.
People just
And
assume.
we're like fucking nuke them.
People assume that aliens are going to come down and just want to take. We want to
Did you
take
see
over your
Americans?
world.
There was a hurricane in America last year, and they were shooting at the hurricane. That's humanity right there.
That's America.
That's
That is.
America.
That's not humanity.
Not all of America, I want to stress. I know some of you are fucking awesome. But fuck me. And that would be aliens will come. We'll get aliens come. There's no way we are the most intelligent thing in the universe. There is no...
Whoa, speak for
fucking-
yourself. Speak for yourself. Come on now. Just broadly
Fuck me.
throw that out there.
There
We're
is
not the
no
most
way.
intelligent thing in the world. Come on
No,
now.
in the universe.
I'm here. I can hear you.
Sorry. Next to Jake, who is the all-seeing, all-being, omnipresent matrix of information that he
Now
is.
continue.
Right. Next to that,
Yeah.
I don't think that there is any other human next to you, fuck's sake, who is the most powerful, knowledgeable creature in the universe.
Yeah, okay then. But what's to say that we're not?
What's to say that we are?
No, I agree.
I nearly said what's to say we is.
Do you
That's what there is to say that we're
do
not.
you believe there's something out there?
Oh, 100%.
You do?
But no, I don't. Okay, if there's bacteria on another planet, then something's out there. I'm not saying that there's tiny Martians with big fucking grey heads and big black eyes in revolving UFOs. But bacteria is on another planet would technically be an alien life form.
It is a life form.
That's what I mean. So do I think in the multitude of galaxies that exist that we don't even fucking know about, is there other life? Yes, I do. Do I think there is intelligent life? Yes, I do.
I do. I believe that. I do genuinely believe that there is something else.
Do you think aliens made us? Do you know about the Anunaki?
Who?
Oh, this okay. I'll just briefly on this because
Don't be briefly. Don't have to be brief.
I have to be brief. I'm not that knowledgeable on it.
Oh, okay. Fair
So
enough.
a guy I used to work with told me about this, and I was like, "You sound fucking crazy."
That sounds like a good start
Right.
to a story.
And then I said before in a different podcast about the pyramids. I'm quite fascinated by the pyramids, and I came across it was on YouTube.
Right.
So already the credibility is questionable.
Straight up there.
Because I
Yep.
found it on a YouTube video, right?
Yep.
There was apparently a species called the Anunaki who are on a different planet called Nibiru,
Right.
also known as Planet X, which is
Okay.
in our solar system, but only comes into orbit with the 9 or 8 planets, if you want to not include Pluto. every 1,000 years or 10,000 years. I'm loose on the dates.
Yeah.
And there was a theory that they came around 2,000 or 3,000 years ago, and they found Homo erectus, which is what we were pre-evolution.
It's not a sex joke.
It's not a sex joke.
Science, bitch.
Science, bitch. And mixed their DNA with Homo erectus to create Homo sapiens, which is what we are now.
Also not a sexual slur.
Not a sexual slur. And yeah, so there's a theory that we are created. And the thing is, there's hieroglyphics and stuff like that in Egypt, going to the pyramids, which support this theory.
But
there's a whole thing, just quickly, in the Vatican. Do you know about your pineal gland?
What?
Your pineal gland. So it's like the third eye. So you know when people say your third eye?
Nobody's ever said that to me.
No one's ever.
I thought that was your arsehole.
No.
Oh.
That is what your third eye is.
What about your Jap's eye?
That's British.
We're not allowed to say Jap's eye anymore either,
colloquialism for the end of your penis.
Yeah, we're not allowed to say
I know,
Jap's
because
eye
racist as
anymore.
fuck. Yeah, I never actually thought that's what it means. That's literally just occurred to me what that means.
What?
Jap's eye.
Why? What do you mean?
We'll discuss it off camera. Let's not get into it now.
You've just realised why it's called Jap's eye?
Like, I've never got it before. It literally just clicked.
Oh, okay.
Whilst this is a revelation on camera.
Okay.
About my idiocy. Yeah, I've never claimed to be smart. So the pineal gland is in your part of your brain. It's a gland, and it looks like a pine cone. And in the Vatican, they actually have a statue of a pine cone.
Is this the Illuminati triangle thing with the eye in the middle?
No.
Oh.
Maybe. I don't know that much about the Illuminati.
Okay.
I'm not that educated on it. I think, again, I watched something on YouTube once and it just didn't engage me enough, because that's where they think there's lizard people.
Well, yeah, and it's in order to be successful, you sell your soul.
Yeah, because there's that whole thing of like
Kanye West, Lady Gaga,
Beyonce,
Jay-Z, all them lot.
Jennifer, someone who apparently had a whole family cured for him and stuff like that.
Yeah, you
basically, anytime you reach a
sacrifice.
level of success, people are like, he's Illuminati.
Yeah, he's sold somebody something.
Yeah, because there's a whole thing with
successful.
Bohemian Grove. It's like in America, and Alex Jones, you know who Alex Jones is? The dude off InfoWars. He's fucking insane. He's literally insane. And he went in there with a hidden camera, and there's meant to be like the richest and wealthiest people in the world. So you have like president. This is a real thing that does happen. A place called Bohemian Grove, and they have all celebrities, the most powerful people in the world who go there. They're dressed in robes. There's a big fucking owl that they worship, and apparently sacrifice somebody to the lizard people.
Really?
Yeah. It's like if you Google Bohemian Grove and have a look at it.
So it's like a secret club sort of thing.
Yeah, like the what are they called?
Like fraternities.
Masons.
Oh, okay.
Like the
yeah.
Freemasons and stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
So it's meant to be
It's
kind
called
of
what?
like that.
Bohemian Grove.
That's the place. It's a real place called Bohemian Grove.
Oh, okay.
That's the name of the place.
Yeah.
And that's where they go and do their plotting and planning, and that's where they make these important decisions for us as people. I don't believe this. Just FYI. It was just one of those, it was 4 a.m, I couldn't sleep. I wonder what's interesting on the internet, and you click on one link and 15 links later, you're watching fucking one
lizard
of the Rockefellers be a lizard person executing someone. But one of the Rockefellers died like 2 years ago, and he lived to 106. I think he had 7 heart transplants. Something like that. Like, genuinely, if you saw the picture of him at the end, he looked like the Emperor.
We won't.
I'm not reading it out loud.
I'm not reading it out either.
I'm not.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
We'll just call it Dickhole for now. It's fine.
It was, previous racial slur related. But yeah, so there's a theory that people legit believe this as well. People are convinced that people are lizards.
But that's what,
shapeshifters.
I love conspiracy theories. I really do. I love conspiracy. Other than flat Earth, I think them people are fucking idiots.
Yeah. Did you see the documentary on Netflix where they spent like $25,000 to prove it and disproved it
themselves?
yeah. At the end of this documentary, they're trying to prove that flat Earth exists, and honestly, the way it ends is just almost like credits. It's like,
Really?
It's like, oh shit.
I need to watch this.
Yeah, like it's worth it just for that. I'll just find the clip. You don't need to watch the whole thing. It's good to watch the whole thing to get all the build up to it and their whole fucking batshit crazy.
They are mental.
Oh, they're fucking
like
insane.
they are mental.
More so because they don't think any other planet is flat, just ours.
Just
Which is crazy. They think the moon is still
round.
orbital. They think all the other planets are, but ours happens to be flat, and all the way around it apparently is like glaciers or mountains or snow. Or
And you,
something like
so
that.
you can't fall off the end.
That's why you can't fall off. And that's why the water all stays there, and you're. And I honestly think people should just fund that one person to get on a boat.
Just keep going. Just keep going.
I'd watch it
But that's the thing.
just
like,
for the end.
if there's so many people that think that theory, why has nobody done that now? Why has nobody done it? And they just think that all these explorers and all that, they're just full of shit.
Yeah.
They're just like, no, he's lying. All these people are other conspiracy theorists against our conspiracy theory.
Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, I like conspiracy theories, but I don't buy into them. Like, there's
No.
the whole 9/11 one, there's the moon landing one, it's the biggest one. And the thing is, with 9/11, for example, by no means do I necessarily believe everything I'm told. But at the same time, I'm not going to watch a video on YouTube and go, it's a
That's
conspiracy.
true. Yeah.
It's gotta be. But what's your information?
I've been there. Have you been there?
Not yet.
Yeah.
I went post 9/11,
What does that mean?
so I didn't see the World Trade Center when it was still there.
Right.
I saw, they made the memorial and stuff like that. So I've been to Ground Zero as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You've been to the memorial and stuff like that, yeah?
Yeah, I've been a couple of times.
That's what I always say to people. I'm like, don't sit there behind a computer and tell me that it's not true, it is true, whatever. Go there, experience it, and make your own mind up.
It was weird. The first time I went was 2004, so it was only 3 years after. I went October 2004 and went to Ground Zero. And at that point, it was so somber. Like, the streets leading up to it got quieter. And when you get to the area, it was like a graveyard.
It's a horrific place.
Now it's become. I like the memorial they built. There's a museum as well. The museum.
Oh yeah, it's
crazy.
a great place, but it literally, like, if you go there, expect the rest of your day not to be the same.
The only thing I didn't like about the museum part was it ends. The last room you go into. Have you been to the museum bit?
I think so.
The last room you go in is purely about the people who did it. So it's almost like they break you emotionally down
to you at your lowest point,
and then fill you with rage,
and then hit you. It's
and
all
that
about.
I didn't like. I feel like it should. I mean, I understand it's important to know who, but don't leave that as the last thing.
Yeah, because you walk through, didn't you, and listen to the answer machine messages that people left to their loved ones, and you see the notes and all that, and you hear the telephone calls
and you can
to
see
the
the fire
emergency
ambulance
services.
and stuff like that. Yeah,
and then I didn't think of that, and then literally the last room is all. This is the people that done it. These are their passports.
That's the
these
taste
are their
of
family
the
tree.
mouth. Yeah.
This is their history. This is everything. Yeah, no, it is a bit. It is. I think. I do think what happened. If I'm honest, I don't necessarily know if I agree with who did it or why they did it. I don't think in any stretch of any imagination it was an inside job.
Right.
I don't think at no point, if that was the case, I don't think somebody somewhere would say, "Hang on a minute, are we really going to do this?"
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like 2,000 Americans died or something like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Really
Are you telling me I don't care about NDAs? I don't care about FBI, CIA, none of that bullshit. Somebody somewhere would have had the guilt to say, "We can't do this."
It's weird. I do think, especially being a brown person, I remember the world pre 9/11 and post 9/11.
Really?
100%. I think that was the big. I honestly remember having a conversation with someone at the end of the 90s saying, I think racism's kind of like on its way out. And then that day happened.
And then it all just.
It's been there since. I think the biggest problem with 9/11 media wise was they realized they can control people with fear. And the way news has changed since then.
That is true, yeah, because it wasn't really a thing before, was it?
It wasn't overly.
No.
It was, I mean, it still had an agenda and stuff like that.
It's just as social media was all starting as well.
Yeah, but they realised by keeping people afraid, they will make decisions they may have had to struggle to inspire prior to that. But post 9/11, like the fact that it was like Saudi Arabia or Afghanistan who the fingers pointed at and they went and invaded Iraq, like how's that worked out? Like, where's the logic behind that?
No, none of them had Iraqi passports.
Right, exactly. And I think the problem was, especially that Bush administration, and like we had Blair here, it did kind of enable the media and politics to control the flow of elections, the way people would get behind That it became, support the troops became a big thing. Like, you'll have people pointing their finger in your chest if you don't support the troops. Like, fuck you.
That's what I mean. I don't think it was necessarily an inside job in terms of we're going to do this for this, but I do very much think they capitalised on the opportunity.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So would that mean that they're just as guilty? But no, I don't think somebody somewhere said, right. And do you know what, though? It is mad because I remember having a conversation just after it happened with my friend, and I was like, if you look at this from the terrorist side, you couldn't have done a better job.
Yeah.
Like, literally, if you're going to do something, it couldn't have been any better than that. You're going to kill a massive amount of people. You know what I mean? This, that, and the other. So in terms of terrorists, but then you look at then the flip side of the government, that it literally did. It did change everything.
It literally
really.
did. It really did.
It
But
did.
I can only imagine that like the wars prior to that, World War 1 and 2, were the last things of that significance.
I mean, there was propaganda about there, weren't there? But it was very much hearsay, stories.
Yeah.
I mean, they used to drop flyers from planes, didn't they?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all that sort of stuff. Like, all of a sudden, you've got all the fuel you need
Right, yeah.
to like you
turn-
say, to control people,
Yeah.
to make people make choices that necessarily they wouldn't have without that
And I
catalyst in
think
the
the
first
repercussions
place.
of that are still happening.
Yeah.
19 years later. Like 19 years later, there was still huge. It affected everything. It really did affect from the way racism in itself is acceptable almost. I think the problem with having Trump and Boris Johnson and Brexit happens, it empowers people. Because if you think the majority of people think the same way I do, then I haven't got to be quiet about it anymore.
No, I can just say what I like
Yeah,
because
'cause,
people
like,
will agree.
50% of the people, if not more of the people,
Yeah.
feel the same way I do. And I do think it has changed everything. But from the conspiracy side of it, it's easy to look into something and go, well, of course they planned that. And here's a documentary. That proves
Again, it goes back to the attention thing, doesn't it? If
Yeah.
you're not getting the attention that you want by talking about something, if you can just make up bullshit
Yeah.
and one person listens to
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
that's all the attention
Well, that's
that
how
you
Flat
need.
Earth worked as well. Like,
That's
you know
what I mean.
It's just, and that's how lizard people.
If just one person listens, you'll be like, "Oh, I've got my attention now. I'm going to keep going
Yeah,
with
yeah.
this."
And the problem is, there's no one's ever into one conspiracy. If you're into conspiracy theories, in a
Nothing's
big
real.
way,
Yeah, nothing's real.
Like chemtrails and fucking everything.
My favourite one, I don't know if it is a conspiracy theory or not, but my favourite thing recently was the Area 51 invasion.
That was I really wanted that to happen.
So good.
I think like 1,000 people turned up. There was like a decent quantity, but nothing happened. Like,
Literally,
no
I
one
don't think they
invaded
even like
anything.
knocked on the gate, did they?
Yeah,
or
like
anything?
literally they went there because it was like there was something else happening in the world that day as well, which I forget. But I was following it like I wanted. There's so many good memes. That was the best part of it. Was like the good shit.
What
that
you
came
might
out.
find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it was a massive, underwhelming kind of. Oh,
Yeah, I think it
have
would
you been around? Cause
I've seen it. I've been as close as you can get to
Right,
it.
okay.
We went to.
is it New Mexico?
No, it's in Nevada.
Oh, is it?
Just outside Vegas. You know, do you ever watch the Alien film, Paul?
Yeah, no. I know the one you're on about.
Yeah,
That's the
with-
Simon Pegg in it.
Simon Pegg, yeah.
yeah.
There's a restaurant in that called The Little Alien. The Little Alien.
Right.
The Little Alien.
Yeah,
Little
yeah.
Alien. And that is literally on the edge
Oh, right,
of
okay,
Area
yeah.
51. And we drove down the extraterrestrial highway. That's an actual road name.
That's the name.
That's an actual road
I've
name.
seen the pictures of like when you went there.
Yeah. So that's and that drives. Basically, you drive around it, and there's a post box that everyone says. You see the post box.
Okay,
Somebody
so
stole the post
having
box.
been as close as you can get, what do you think?
It's a
aliens?
cool as fuck place.
But do you think there's aliens
Yeah.
there? Do you think there's
I
aliens?
don't know if there's aliens.
Okay,
there.
but do you think there's information on?
Yes, I think there's a lot more there than what we will ever know.
Right.
Even
okay.
with the Freedom of Information Act in 50 years, I still don't think everything will come out.
Yeah.
And if they do, it'll all be that redacted shit where you can't read any of it.
Yeah. So it's and the is
Yeah,
all the words
that's
you can
it,
read
yeah,
in the
yeah.
whole thing. And it's
Yeah,
all just
that's
blacked
it.
out. Yeah.
But no, I think I think that's good. Also, that's the end again.
It is the end. That's where we're doing these hour ones.
1 hour.
Yeah.
This was really heavy. This one.
Do you think?
How much
There was-
quicker does an hour go
no,
compared
yeah.
to 2 hours?
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of heavy content in this one.
What?
Thereabouts. Approximately 50%. Sorry.
Smart ass.
And this is you're the smartest person in the universe as well.
It goes
The known
50%
universe.
faster than a
It goes
2-hour
it does.
podcast.
He's not wrong.
Dickhead.
He's not wrong.
Can I be that world person, like the master of the world that you were talking about?
No.
I don't fancy that job
No.
title.
No.
No.
I've just been looking on Indeed, and it's
For that job.
Yeah, submitting my CV. Could be master of the
Can I
world.
ask, what is your biggest selling point for that role?
I'm ginger.
I don't feel like that's a sufficient reason to be.
But I've got hand tattoos.
That's also
So far on your CV, you've got I would like to apply for the job of Master of the World. I think my attributes of being ginger and having hand tattoos make me perfect for this role. I look forward to future correspondence from yourself. Thanks,
Also,
producer Rob.
Who have you sent it to? Is the bigger question.
Or have you just put it on there for someone else to find?
Someone's going to find it.
Maybe if you tell enough people that that's what you are, they'll start going, have you met Rob? He's
the fucking master of the
he's
world.
the master of the
You
world.
just said it. Everyone knows.
Rob is. So next time
I'm
you
not
get
saying that out loud. I'm not.
next
I
time
love
you
you,
read
Rob.
next time you read the paper and there's a new shitty rule been developed,
He's not the master of this room, let alone the world.
it's Rob's fault. On that note,
On that note,
please follow us.
Instagram, Twitter,
Facebook, YouTube, Apple
Spotify,
Podcasts,
Google
Spotify,
Podcasts,
Deezer, everywhere. Please.
at Archer the Devil. If you just Google at Archer the Devil,
Yeah. Loads of
find
shit
us
should
that
come
way.
up.
Yeah.
Also, if you do enjoy it, can you please tell your friends?
Yeah, do tell your friends.
If
We
there's-
have had awesome feedback. Like, honestly, everything we've had so far.
If there's a little bit that you was interested in, if there's a little bit that you think these pair are full of shit,
Yeah.
if you think these pair are absolute morons or geniuses, also, if you do believe that Rob could be Master of the World,
But let us know.
please let us know.
Yeah.
Let Rob know because it will smooth his ego a little bit more to just... He's like, yeah, I told you I could be Master of the World. But no, that's the end of it, mate. That's number 4
Number 4 done.
in the bag.
In the bag. In the bank.
High five for
five.
number 4. And we will see
I
you...
just like that you made me lean all the way for that high five. You literally put your hand up and went, yeah, you be my bitch.
Welcome to the real world.
Go fuck
On that
yourself.
note, see you all next week.
Oh,
What did you do?
just got shock off that.